Howdy, and welcome back to Communiwhat. This is episode 5, and we're talking about control in the Communiwhat framework. This podcast is where we look at communication breakdowns and we try to fix them. And over the past few weeks, we've been building something together. We've talked about intent, why you're communicating in the first place. We've talked about context. Maybe I should put up the graphic. There we go. Let's try it this way. I think I like this way. That way's better. All right. So we talked about intent, the why. Why are you communicating in the first place? Number 2, we talked about context, making sure people understand the why behind the message. So there's the why, but understanding the why. And number 3, we talked about clarity. Clarity is making your messaging simple, specific, and actionable. And last week we talked about confirmation, making sure what you said is actually what was understood. And today we finish it. Control. I'm telling you right now, this is the one that determines whether everything else works or falls apart. I am Dr. Dana Martin, and I love communication. I am a speaker, an author, an executive leadership coach. This is one of my books, 1 Minute Wins, Take Control of Your Growth Journey, 1 minute at a time. That is available on Amazon. There is also a podcast that goes along with every one of the 101 1 minute wins in that book. I'm actually at like 60 or 62, somewhere in there. So still recording a lot of them as we are doing this other podcast as well. So what? Well, let's start with this. He who angers you conquers you. Let's think about that for a second. He who angers you conquers you. The moment someone controls your reaction, they control the conversation. And if they control the conversation, then they control the outcome. You can have the right intent, you can have great context, and you can be perfectly clear. You can even confirm everything is understood and still lose the moment. Because control is not about preparation, control is about presence. And let's be honest, communication doesn't break down, usually doesn't break down when everything is calm. It breaks down when there's something unexpected, when something shifts, when you feel disrespected, maybe when someone pushes back, when you're under pressure, a deadline, maybe something catches you off guard. And that's where control shows up, or it doesn't. And this is a piece that I think we don't like to hear sometimes as leaders, that in these moments, you don't rise up to your training, you fall down to your habits. So if your habit is to react, if your habit is to react, then your communication is going to break down every single time. And let's look at this maybe a different way. Between the stimulus and response, there's a space. And it's in that space that is your power to choose your response. That space, that moment, that's control. Control is your ability to pause, choose your response, and stay aligned with your intent. Not react, respond. I know you felt this before. I felt this before. I can't be the only one. Somebody says something to you, and immediately you feel it. It's like, I feel it here. Like something wasn't right. It was in your tone. I feel it in your thoughts, and your instinct immediately is what? Correct them, defend myself, and push back. If you go with your first reaction, you've lost control of the conversation. Now, something interesting happens. See, the conversation shifts. It's no longer about the issue, it's about the reaction. The tone changes, body language changes, and that defensiveness shows up. And now you're not solving anything, you're just reacting to each other. That's the moment. That's the exact moment where leaders separate themselves. It's not because control is not silence, okay? It's not avoidance, it's not backing down, it's not pretending that you don't feel anything. Control is choosing a response instead of letting that moment dictate that choice for you. So what does that actually look like? Not the theory and the stats, like real life. What does that look like? It looks like this. It looks like pausing before you respond. Even when everything in you wants to jump in, it looks like you're lowering your tone. When the other person is raising theirs, it looks like asking a question instead of making a statement. It looks like slowing the conversation down instead of speeding it up. And I want to be extremely clear about something. This is not weakness. This is discipline. This is discipline in real time. So I'll ask you, something I ask of myself often. Where do you lose control the fastest? Is it when you sense or feel disrespected? Is it when someone challenges you in front of others? Is it when you're rushed and you're under pressure? That's the pattern. That's your pattern. And if you can identify your pattern, then you can prepare for it. Because the goal is not to eliminate emotion. That's unrealistic, and we're not robots. The goal is to manage, have some emotional intelligence about the situation, and manage your own. This is the shift. You don't stop feeling, you just don't react immediately. Just that 1 second pause. That's the moment where you choose not to react. And that changes everything. Because when you pause, you create space. And when you create space, you're creating options. Options, that's where better communication lives. You don't lose the conversation when you speak, you lose the conversation when you react every time. So the challenge today is the next time that you feel that moment rising inside of you, and you will, just don't react. Just pause, even if it's just for a second. That second gives you control. That second helps you be aligned with the initial intent. And that second protects the conversation. Because communication is not just what you say, it's also how you show up. And control is what protects everything else we've just talked about. Intent doesn't matter if you lose control. Context doesn't matter if you lose control. Clarity doesn't matter if you lose control. And confirmation doesn't matter if you lose control. Control is what holds it all together. So communicate with intention, create alignment. It's going to drive results. And always, always remember, I'm not going to say it yet because I still have a few moments. I don't see anyone chatting in today, but I will take this opportunity to go over Communiwhat. For those of you watching for the first time, what is Communiwhat? Communiwhat is anytime that you come out of a conversation where you thought communication happened, but there's zero alignment. Nobody knows what happened. That's Communiwhat. And there's a 5-part framework. And that 5-part framework is intent, context, clarity, confirmation, and control, which we just talked about. So how did this start? Well, once upon a time in my very young career as a leader, my first real supervisor job in a Fortune 500 company, I had an opportunity to work on a project. And I was brought in and presented, hey, we need you to do this, find this data, et cetera, and go. Well, I didn't know that they had given someone else that same task. And inevitably what happened was we both put in effort, we both provide a product, something, a report, and both of us were wrong in what the director actually wanted. And the frustration was real. You know, I wasted, between the two of us, I think it was a total of about 8 hours of work, replicating work that didn't need to be replicated, and we were both chasing the wrong thing. So I got back to my desk. I wrote on my whiteboard communication in red because, you know, I'm angry and I'm kind of sithy. There's another podcast, The Sith Dominion, that I host. That's super fun. Wrote down communication, and then I'm staring at it and I scratch it out, cation, and put what. And that has stuck with me since 2010. I'm now at a point in my life where I just can't hold it in anymore. And I want to help people avoid the communal what. Well, how do we avoid communal what? Well, it has to be something real and it has to be simple and applicable. And that's what the communal what framework is. Intent. Why am I communicating this? Context. What do they need to understand this correctly? And clarity. Have I made this simple and actionable? Confirmation. Did they understand it the way I intended to control? Am I leading in this moment or reacting to it? Yeah. Wondering just how much communication issues, not just we all know they occur, but how much does it bother you? And see, that's one of the things that drives me to do what I do, because when I see two people communicating or communal whatting, I'm frustrated. I want to jump in and help, and um, I see it even on other podcasts that I'm on. We're getting into these arguments. We're saying the same thing. You go back and watch. Go back and watch the tape. It's the same stuff that we're talking about, but we're not talking the same language. And with control, there's another tool I mentioned in one of the other episodes that I have that I'm working through. It's called Power of the Pause. It's about why do we pause, right? So we talked about control, and within the scope of communication, what does that mean? It means controlling the moment, not letting the moment control you. Don't be reactionary. Let's continue the conversation and let's focus on intent and restart the process, right? Not just react. But there's a lot more layers to the actual power of the pause and why it can be applicable in your day-to-day life. Pausing before reacting. Just consider that is the choice. If you can be disciplined enough to make the choice to follow a 5-step framework, which is simple, then make the choice in that pause to not be reactionary and be constructive. Yeah. So, again, not sure why the comments are not working today. They worked last week. Do want to let you all know that there is next week, we're going to start, I think Friday we'll push that out, but we're going to start with some polls and try to determine what types of things real world right now, outside of just what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing in the realm of communication. What are others experiencing? Are there any hotter type things to talk about rather than some of the framework? So yeah, we're here to talk about communication. We're doing this every week, so long as I can, and as long as they let me. Go check out the book and the podcast, 1 Minute Wins. You can get the podcast. It is on my channel at Dr. Dana Martin on YouTube if you want to see, because there are a few newer episodes where we did do video. And I believe we're doing video moving forward. There's also Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, whatever, all those things for the Dr. Dana Martin 1 Minute Wins podcast. Go check out the book on Amazon. And yeah, Communiwhat. That framework's there to help you. I hope that you can take a bit of this today and take it with you. If you like what you listened to today or saw today, please like, subscribe, do all those things that help others potentially get some assistance in the realm of communication. So thank you all. Always remember